Welcome to today's briefing organized by the Ethnic Media Services and California Black Media. If you all don't know, I'm Regina Brown Wilson, Executive Director of California Black Media. As the fall semester gets underway, some 3,200 students are starting their first academic career as a College Corps Fellows at one of the 46 colleges and universities across our state. Launched by Governor Newsom in 2021, this program, which you can find online, represents the first and largest state-level investment in a college service program in the country. Students will receive up to $10,000 for completing a year of service in their communities, including tutoring and mentoring in middle schools, working in local food banks, and addressing climate change. Our first speaker will talk to you about the vision that inspired the program, how it works, who's eligible, and how to apply, and where students will do their community service. So now I will turn it over to you, Mr. Josh Friday.
Thank you so much for the introduction and for having us today. Sandy, as always, thank you for convening us and bringing us together for important conversations facing our community and our state. And I really appreciate everyone's time today to really talk about something that's extraordinary and special for the state of California, and ultimately we hope for the country. The governor, as you heard, swore in over 3,200 students across the state of California that are participating in a brand new program. And you're going to hear from a couple of those students, and I'm going to keep my remarks short because it's most important you hear from them. They're very inspiring. We're inspired by them, and it's why we're doing this, because we know that our country and our state is facing a student debt crisis. We also know that we have serious issues to tackle. We're facing climate change, food insecurity, and also education disparities, especially coming out of COVID with the learning loss that we're seeing in real time with especially our low-income and disadvantaged students. And we also are at a time when we know our country's divided, when we feel more polarized than ever, and we see people really, as the governor talked about, seeking belonging, seeking community, wanting to feel connected to each other. And so we launched the Californians for All College Corps with the idea of really being able to address all of these issues at once. And that's what makes this program so extraordinary. And such a leading program for the country, because we've created what we see really as a win-win-win. We've created a win where we've given young people like Wendy and Allie that you're going to hear from the opportunity to earn $10,000 to put towards their education. We've created the opportunity for them to serve and have an impact and to see their value to our state and to their communities, but to also build really important professional skills, social networks, social capital, the things that are going to be necessary for them as they launch their career. We also know that they're going to be doing extraordinarily meaningful work in the community that makes it a win for our communities. So, for instance, we're going to be hearing from Debbie, who runs one of the, not just the biggest and one of the most impressive food banks in the state of California, but one of the biggest and most impressive in the country. And we're going to have fellows, young people who are going to be providing really meaningful capacity support to her food bank and food banks and across the state, as well as other organizations addressing food insecurity. And then we also know that we're going to have people, as I mentioned, in school districts doing tutoring and mentoring and a variety of other work. But it's also a win for all of society and all of our state, because these young people are going to now graduate. We're going to have a new generation of Californians who will graduate equipped with the tools and the experience of understanding how to work with people from different backgrounds and different perspectives to solve problems together. And we don't have enough of those experiences in our society anymore. And so so we find ourselves divided and polarized and disconnected. And so we've created a program that we really think is going to help students, it's going to help the community, and it's going to help all of society. And that's why Governor Newsom is so proud of it. That's why he called it one of the things he's most proud of in his administration. That's why he's invested so much into this program to ensure that it's available to thousands of young people. It's also partially 46 universities across the state of California, and that includes UCs, CSUs, community colleges, and some private schools. So it's an extraordinary public-private partnership. Our young people are going to be serving at over 600 community organizations throughout the state. That's organizations like the Fine Food Bank, climate organizations, school districts. So this is a full partnership of the entire state of California, state government, universities and colleges, and community nonprofits coming together to create opportunity and really tackle and start to solve some of our biggest challenges. So I just want to I'll just maybe close with a couple points that we're also extremely proud of. As we discussed last time we were all together, this is the first state service program of its kind that is including a population that too often has been excluded from these kinds of opportunities. And we were very intentional about ensuring that for the first time in a state program like this, that we were able to include our AB 540 California Dream Act students. And we are so proud that with this class of 3,200, over 500 of the participating students are dreamers, are California Dream Act students. And we just want to make sure that it's loud and clear to this population that we value you, we believe in you, and we know what you will contribute to our society, and we're going to create opportunities to support you. And that's really important to the governor. It's really important to California volunteers, and it's really important to the future of California. And then maybe I'll just end by saying a thank you to you all, honestly, because last time we were together, we were talking about the idea, the concept of this program, and how we needed to recruit for members to be able to join and be a part of the program. And because of efforts, including with your support in educating communities about this opportunity, we received nearly 10,000 applications for the 3,200 slots, meaning we had nearly about 3 applications for every slot. And as a result of the outreach efforts that took place across the state, including with ethnic media outlets, including with a lot of Spanish TV, reaching parents who are very, very influential in talking to their kids and their nephews and their nieces and their grandkids about this opportunity, we're so proud that in this first cohort of College Corps members, more than 80% of the class are self-identified students of color. So let's just think about that. In the state of California, more than 80% of our class are self-identified students of color who will be receiving $10,000, which for a Pell Grant student is the gap that they have to come up with by either going into debt or by working. So I had to work as a Pell Grant student cleaning golf carts. Others have to work at a coffee shop or somewhere else. Now those students are going to be receiving the amount that they need to cover school while also gaining critical skills and contributing to our communities and our state and our society in a really significant way. So we're very proud of this program. It truly is something that's unique to California. But we hope it doesn't stay unique. We think this is an extraordinary program and opportunity that we hope spreads across the country. Every state should have a College Corps, and we should be creating these opportunities for young people all over our country. So with that, I'm going to close and hand it back to Regina, but happy to answer any and all questions and just appreciate all of your attention and time on this exciting program.
How many students applied for the fellowship, and how were the winners selected? And then the second part of that question is, can students reapply if they weren't selected this year?
Yes, so absolutely they can reapply. We encourage them to reapply. So as mentioned, we received 3 applications for every slot. We received nearly 10,000 applications across the state, which I think demonstrates the desire of this generation to want to contribute, to want to serve, to want to create change in their communities. they want to make a difference. And with this program, they can. So we saw enormous interest. It was very competitive to be accepted. And the students were chosen by their campus. So each of our 46 partners, campuses that are engaged in the program, were responsible for choosing the students through a competitive application process. And because this program right now is funded through 2026, through the end of the governor's first term, we absolutely want those who weren't able to participate this year to apply again, and we hope we get as many young people who are interested as applying as possible.
Next question is, are there other states contacting you about the program? Is this a model?
Yes, I have talked to other states about the program. Generally, their sentiment is we wish we had what California has and had the investment that the governor and the legislature has made. But listen, every state is dealing with a student debt crisis. Every state is dealing with food insecurity and learning loss and climate change. And I think, and every state's dealing with the polarization that we see. So we're very confident that this is a model that other states can and should adopt in the future.
Why is the community service component so important?
Yeah, I think it's important for a few reasons. One is we know we have real challenges facing our state. So California needs these young people to help create change, to make a difference. We know we're facing an existential climate crisis, learning loss coming out of COVID, food insecurity, growing inequality. We know we have big issues, and the governor feels very strongly that we need to create opportunities for people to take action. And this is an opportunity for them to do so. We also know that, and we hope to inspire a generation of young people that find themselves in service and find their purpose in life through this program, whether it's purpose because they decide they want to become a teacher, or they decide they want to go work and be like Debbie and work at a food bank one day, or they just realize the power of service and the power of giving back, and they take that with them for the rest of their life. California needs those kinds of leaders. And then finally, we really think this program is going to play a critical role in helping bring our communities together and helping people feel more connected to each other and less polarized. So we view this as having multiple benefits that are absolutely critical for the vision of California that the governor has.
Thank you, Mr. Friday. And so we'll go into our students, who I think everybody wants to hear from, to hear the students and what they've been doing so far and what they're looking forward to. So thank you for your remarks. Our next speaker is Ali Alani, a student fellow at UC San Diego. Mr. Alani, go ahead.
Thank you, Regina. Thank you, everyone, for having me. Today, I would like to talk about my journey towards College Corp. First, I'd like to start with talking a little bit about my background. I was born in Syria and was educated in Saudi Arabia. I've not been to Syria in over 10 years due to the civil war that's happening. My family and I immigrated to the United States almost 3 years ago. I was 16 when I moved here, and I attended my senior year of high school in San Diego as well. The transition was a period full of lessons and experiences for me. When I moved to the United States, it was at the peak of the pandemic. So there was a lot of uncertainty and change in many different aspects of life. In terms of school, I transitioned into a new school and a new education, the online system. So I was also working as a barista at Starbucks during my time in high school. And then it was also the time for college applications. So my first year was really helped me to get where I'm now. I'm a second year student at UC San Diego, majoring in computer engineering and minoring in entrepreneurship and innovation. During my first year at UC San Diego, I worked as a house manager, and I worked as a software engineering intern over the summer at a startup. I was also taking classes. I found out about College Corps through an email from my campus. I've always had an interest in teaching and mentoring. I've discovered this interest through basically helping my classmates and friends and having discussions, So I was really interested in the program, but I didn't know much about the program since it was its first year for UCSD and for the program. I really think the College Course program is great as it benefits a lot of people, and it benefits many of them in many different ways. It benefits college students like me, as it helped me focus on my education while supporting me to pay for my college. And it also helped tackle problems and deficiencies in many different areas with issues like education, climate change, food insecurity. My focus will be in the education in the San Diego Unified School District, specifically the AVID program, where I will tutor and mentor students. After the switch to online school and back to in-person, many students need help with adjusting and getting ready again to learn in a classroom. So my goal with College Corps is to leave a positive impact and inspire students to achieve their goals, as well as learn personally by helping the students. As Mr. Fadley said, there's a big learning loss in our schools and communities. So I'm looking forward to helping the students excel academically and leave a positive impact, as I believe teachers can have a huge impact on students' lives. I've personally had teachers who inspired me and really motivated me to achieve my goals and get to where I am today. So I'd like to do the same and inspire students to achieve their goals and pursue higher education. In the swearing ceremony on Friday, Governor Newsom said something that I really liked about how decisions plant seeds and those create conditions for success. So I can really relate that to my work that I'll be doing this year as a fellow in the College Corps program, as I will facilitate conditions for success of students and help them pursue their goals and higher education. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm currently still training to get into the AVID program in the training program, and in a couple of weeks, I'll be starting at the schools and helping out with teachers and students.
Can you tell us a little bit about, the Syrian immigrants and refugees in California and how they're doing? Not that you speak for everyone, but I don't know if there's a connection with community that you would want to share with everyone.
Sure, yeah. So at UCSD, there's a community that I found. I haven't found a lot of Syrian immigrants. I found people who were US citizens, but their parents immigrated from Syria, so most of them were like first generation in the United States. But there's a not very big community at UCSD that I've met so far.
Ali, do you see the cost of college put many students off higher education? So are you seeing people walk away from higher education because of the cost?
I think so, yeah. But there's also the option of community college, which I was considering, which is always great to help students take the first step into higher education without the worry about the high and expensive tuitions and fees in universities. But overall, I feel like, yeah, it does affect many students. And it was something I thought about too, since before going into computer engineering, I was thinking of going into medicine, but due to the costs and the expenses for med school and undergrad, I decided to take my other passion, which is computer engineering, and pursue that, since it's going to be a shorter time and it's something that I also liked, but that was also a factor that affected my decision.
Thank you so much. So Wendy Lazola is a student fellow at the Sacramento State University, and I want to welcome her and allow her to take the floor.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here and giving me the opportunity to be a speaker and represent this amazing program. I am so grateful for this amazing opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to everything this program has to offer. That being said, let me introduce myself, a little bit about my background. I am a first-generation undocumented student. My family and I came from Michoacan, Mexico, with my two older sisters. And so growing up, we struggled financially as low income. My parents worked long days and nights from 4 in the morning to 11 p.m. washing hundreds of cars in dealerships. My dad had created his like own little business. He had like got a van and he bought like his huge water gallon and pressure washing machines. And so he and my mom would go from car dealerships to car dealerships, asking if they needed their cars to be washed. And so they did this every single day. They got up every single morning. They worked weekends, whether it was really hot or really cold, they still showed up to work. And so I grew up around this during my childhood, to my elementary school and middle school. And they only charged about 50 cents per car or 25 cents. So although it was some income, it was never enough. And we definitely struggled a lot to get by. And not only did we come across financial struggles, I also came across many educational challenges because I didn't understand the English language growing up. I remember I would get frustrated with myself when I couldn't understand topics in school. And thankfully, I had my sisters there for me, and they had the patience to help me because they had a little more experience speaking English. But nonetheless, I think that as my siblings and I witnessed all of this growing up, it motivated us to take advantage of our opportunities. And today, my siblings are all attending universities and pursuing their bachelor's in business. My older sister is actually going to graduate this winter, and my other sister this spring. So yeah, I think the reason that I am so motivated when it comes to my education is because not only do I want to make my parents proud, but I also have my sisters who I have always looked up to as my role models and taught me to never take my education for granted. But yeah, so being an undocumented student, it has always been very challenging. I have struggled gaining experience in the real world and working or networking with others because people aren't open to working with AB 540 students. For instance, I can't volunteer in hospitals for my career because of my status. I also can't work or get a job either. So on top of this, AB 540 students, they also don't get as much financial help in college, tuition-wise. They don't get as much. So I couldn't financially support myself to live on campus and pursue my goal of being a nursing student because living costs are expensive. Luckily, my older sisters were able to get DACA before it closed, but since I was 15 at the time, I wasn't able to get it, and it still remains closed. And so this has made it hard for me at times because in a way I'll feel angry and I'll question, like, why me? And because I feel like it makes me set apart from so many opportunities that I could have had because of my status. And sometimes it feels like whichever way I turn, like there's another barrier, there's another challenge I have. However, I think that having so many struggles throughout my life, and I'm pretty sure I speak for all undocumented students and immigrants, I think it has given us an even greater motive to do something great and to take advantage of our opportunities here. Because we know that if we already got so far with all these challenges we face, there's no limits to our success. And this leads me to my why and why I applied for this program. When I applied, I came across it in the beginning of the year for my older sister. She was the one who had showed it to me, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, Wendy, like, look at this. There's this new program and undocumented students can apply and you can get paid for it as well." And I think until I attended the training and the swearing in ceremony, I think that's where I truly understood not only how big this program is, but how impactful it's going to be. I expected it to be maybe only like 30 students to be in it. So when I saw like 300 students and that the chief officer was involved and the governor were all involved, I was like, oh my gosh. And I think that that's where it felt even more surreal. And I felt so grateful to take this amazing opportunity. And I know that even my parents are so happy for me that I'm in this amazing program and even as a speaker here today. And that being said, I am placed at a middle school host site and I am a tutor to the middle school. And so far it has opened me to seeing a lot of students' educational challenges, seeing how many of them have language barriers. It makes me that much more motivated and inspired to have an impact on them because it hits close to home. And I know that this is something I wish I had when I was a young Spanish speaker. And I really hope to be an inspiration and a role model to these young students. As to my educational goals, I am studying to be a pediatric nurse, and I plan to apply to the Sac State nursing program next semester. And I really am motivated and compassionate and so thankful for every opportunity I have in my life. And I know that as an immigrant and being disadvantaged in many areas of my life, seeing a program like this that is so inclusive to all individuals with different backgrounds is so nice and revealing to see. relieving to see. And I hope, and I'm really grateful to be a part of this program.
Oh, wow. What an amazing story. Anybody who has questions, please make sure we put them in the chat. I want to make sure that we get to any questions, but I think that your story is one that is a story of hope for students. And so I love that your parents, they had the hustle, and I just love being able to hear it and actually have you be able to watch that, because no matter what barriers you probably have or face, you have probably your parents' hustle in you to be able to ensure that you can do whatever it is that you put your mind to. So thank you for sharing the story and the vulnerability of being able to tell your story like that to all of us. I think we have one question in the chat now, and this one, your parents are entrepreneurs, but someone has asked the question, were your parents able to find more stable work?
Yes. So my dad is honestly my inspiration. So after washing cars throughout my whole for maybe 8 years, he was able to work as a mechanic at a dealership. One of the men that he worked for washing the cars, he hired him. And so from being a mechanic, this man, he really connected with my dad, and he got him a job as a salesman. And then from there, my dad, he managed to open a dealership with one of the other workers. So right now he has 2 car dealerships of his own. And yeah, it's really nice and inspiring to see my dad, he really from the bottom, he was able to make it. And right now we're a little bit more stable, and it's nice to have parents like this that are really strong-willed.
Great. Well, you know what? I want to thank everyone for joining us, and I hope that everyone has a great rest of the week.